My name's Martina Cole and I'm a crime writer. And I write about the women who are caught up in the criminal underworld. This underworld is dominated by male gangs, from well-organised crime syndicates to local street posses. And now girls are getting involved.
Some girls, they wear like padded bras and they would slit the bra in half and put the knife in there.
What did you do collectively?
We were using weapons,
Yeah.
so it wasn't
knives and things like that.
Yeah,
anything.
Anything, really. Anything that we could get our hands on, that's what we would use.
But you didn't have access to guns.
tasers.
But why doesn't anyone ever talk about the girls in these gangs? Why are they getting involved and what are their experiences? I want to find out more.
What phone you got?
In their latest report, the police estimated that around 2,800 organised crime gangs were active in England and Wales. Incredibly, nobody seems to know how many girls are involved in these gangs. Even the Youth Justice Board says that little has been written about young women and gangs. In 2007, the Metropolitan Police identified that 90% of gang members were male. However, they pointed out that females participate in gangs in other ways. I want to find out what these other ways are. What are girls doing in gangs? And if they're forming gangs of their own, what kind of organisations are they? Are they really gangs or just groups of girls hanging out together? I'm on my way to Peckham in London to meet my first group of girls. The girls that I'm going to meet tonight, I sort of really just want to get an insight into their kind of lives. I suppose for once, instead of writing about it, I actually want to see it firsthand. I used to hang around in a gang when I was young, but I mean, we wasn't really a gang as such. I mean, we used to sort of stand outside the off-licence all night, not because we were going to rob it, because it was the only place with a light on. My contact's called Sharina, and I hope she's going to turn up. I needn't have worried. As I approached the meet, there's a group of girls waiting for me. They didn't look very threatening. They just looked like we used to when I was that age. A group of kids with nowhere to go, all pretty harmless stuff. The next 20 minutes were to prove just how wrong I was. Hello, I'm Martina, and you are?
Nikita.
Carlisha.
Hello, Carlisha.
Candy.
Hello.
Sharina.
Hello, Sharina. No, are you a gang or association? What do you class yourself as?
We call it association.
What do you associate yourself with then?
Friends. Yeah, friends that are involved in a gang.
Yeah, so what do you do as a gang or an association? I mean, you've got to sort of educate me. I really don't know.
I look at it as like a family loyalty.
So you feel it's all about loyalty and family?
Yeah.
Do you feel more like a family together when you're together than you do at home?
Yeah.
No.
Kind of.
Because, as they
Some
say...
do and some don't, this sounds like, yeah?
Yes,
It's a different sort of family. I look at these are all like my sisters and cousins and that.
You're out for the night tonight, is that what you're telling me? You're all going to be out for the night?
Yeah, it's a Saturday night, you don't creep up in your bed, it's a Saturday
So
night.
you're home all what, by 9 or 10 during the week? Within a couple of minutes of meeting the girls, a group of lads appeared.
You're fat bitch! Your mum's a fat bitch!
Ease off, you waste man!
Go on about your business.
In your broke down crap.
Yeah, right, man, shut your mouth. Shut your fucking mouth.
Keep it moving, man.
Yeah, right.
Slag, your mum.
If I wasn't here, would you have had a row with him? Not just shouting your mouth off, would you actually gone and had a row with him?
It would have been physical.
So you've all had physical fights?
Yeah.
Hold on, that's sketch, cuz.
Gotta bring your mum
You might
back.
have HIV and walk around with you don't even know it yet. You hit the clinic, man, shut up. You hit the clinic and shut your mouth.
How do you know she's not scared?
What started off as a bit of banter was beginning to turn ugly. I think someone should wade in now and just, don't you? And get them, separated. the girls started to really pile in. Come on, girls, come on. The crew held back as the camera pulled away from the scene. Neither the boys nor the girls were willing to back down, and pretty soon the fists were flying. I think eventually the girls went from showing off to actually getting aggravated, and I think the boys aggravated them, and it's just all gone off from there. So does that happen a lot? Have you had a fight with those boys before? Have you had a,
No, I had a man, the one that had his hoodie up today, yeah. The little one, he's pissed.
Me and her was fighting, so he come and punched me
And then
to
I
get me
punched
off.
him to get her.
And then
to back her.
Poochie
Show me where he punched you.
Poochie's onto the fly kicks.
Have you got a mark? Or have you got like a lump?
Younger boys that do
If it
not
gets
go
to
college
marking, then
have
it's
no
like that.
Do
education.
men think, do the boys now think that because you all act hard and
Yeah.
you want to be hard, that if you want to be hard, then we'll give you a fight? Do you think that's what it is?
Think because we're females, they think we're different from them. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to show them is that we're no different from them.
Nice
Bye.
to see you. Nice
Bye.
to see you. I like that. I was taken back by what had happened. That fight seemed almost casual, and the girls were all puffed up about it, just like the boys. I'm not so sure Sharina and her friends are a street gang, but they seem to me to be a good example of how young girls hanging out together can get drawn into the street violence. I want to find out more about girls in gangs in Britain. The police estimate that there are more gangs in England and Wales than previously thought. So how are girls getting caught up in the explosion of gang activity? Are more girls forming their own gangs alongside the boys? And what are their gangs like? Are they as violent as the boys? Certainly violent offences by young girls are on the rise. The Youth Justice Board recorded over 15,000 violent offences committed by young women from April 2007 to March 2008. I'm in Croydon to meet Aisha, Amina and Cara, who used to be in a girl gang in this neighbourhood. They managed to change their lives before they were convicted of anything and are leading their lives well away from their violent pasts. So how old were you when you first got into a gang?
It was 14.
13, 14.
Yeah.
What would you say was the first really violent incident that you got involved in?
I would say that when one of our gang members got into a conflict, she was on the bus and she was basically a victim by another girl gang.
They got anything that they could and just smashed
Pieces
their head
of wood
in.
or...
Yeah, they smashed their head in. Obviously,
Too much.
you're too much, like,
That's when
having another person put a scar on your face, it's
Yeah.
like, come on, you're going to do something, you're going to retaliate.
Yeah.
And we did.
What did you do collectively? Did
done
you
the same
find
thing
the
to
person?
them.
Did you say, right, that's it, we
Yeah,
know
we
where
done
you
the
live?
same thing
We done
to
the
them.
same thing back.
We brutally beat them up. We carried out our, we got our things and
We got
our
for
tools,
revenge.
We got
And carried out our
bats, we got,
You were tooled up, what, baseball bats
yeah,
and things like that?
yeah. we
snooker
met
balls
up
in
and
soxes.
They were using weapons,
Yeah.
so it
What,
wasn't
knives and things like that?
anything.
Anything, really. Anything that we could
Anything.
get our hands on, that's what we
Yeah.
would use.
But you didn't have access to guns?
Tasers.
Tasers, yeah.
Yeah. When you're young, you haven't got nothing to lose. You don't really care. All you really
Well,
gonna get
actually, you
is.
think you've got nothing to
Well, you
lose,
think that
which
you ain't
is
got
what
nothing.
everybody's
And that's
finding
why
out now,
it's
isn't it?
ignorance, really,
Yeah.
in us that we don't really care. Like, we're invincible. That's how we fall.
Like involved in
And you
even
get
more things
deeper. If you
like-
don't
Yeah.
stop, you get deeper. That's life. If
Yeah.
you're going to do something and you're going to carry on doing it, you're going to get either better at it. Like, if you're working
Yeah.
in a job, you're going to better yourself and go higher in a job. If you're in a gang, you're just going to get deeper.
Yeah.
So that's the life of it.
What or who would you say is to blame for how you became into the gangs? What would you say was the main problem?
I say things that I'd done in the gang was my fault. I say who got me there, society.
You don't think it's also a parental thing as well, or home life?
No, because my mum brought me up the best that she could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? I was just a bad child. I just chose not to listen. So that's my fault, but it's nothing to do. Like, you're not gonna really ask your mum. My mum was a single parent. Yeah, it was a struggle for us when it was me, my sister, my aunt, my auntie, my other auntie, and my cousin, yeah, in a flat. So I'm not gonna really then ask my mum for money to get me the latest phone. I'm gonna try and get it for myself. I'm not gonna put that more pressure on my mum.
So you feel this is more a societal problem?
Yeah, because they put all of these kids in a certain area, in a certain estate. They don't have nothing to do in the estate. There are no crimes going on. So obviously, as I was growing up, I was watching crime from my estate. Like, it was drug dealers, it was girl gangs, it was boy gangs. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So what I'm looking at, what I'm shown, that's what I'm going to learn. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So it was hard for me to break through.
It seems to me that everything that you've been involved with has come round to petty crime, violence, stealing, and the only sort of real love, respect and caring any of you have ever felt is off of one another.
You feel like you feel safe.
You feel loved.
You feel cherished. You feel cared for. It's everything in one.
To us, this was our family.
In 2007, the Metropolitan Police said that only 3 out of 171 gangs in London were all girl gangs. For most girls, their experience of gang life comes when they get drawn into male gangs. Aisha's uncle, Gifford Sutherland, served 4 years of a 9-year sentence for drug trafficking and money laundering. He's since set up Foundation for Life, working to get young people away from gang crime. Gifford explained to me why girls want to join the male gangs.
I mean, one of the things you've got to understand is that with a lot of the young women, when they come to the gang, or to a group, if you want to call it that, they're already vulnerable. Dysfunctional family, they're not getting supported, they feel that they don't belong to anything, they feel vulnerable, they feel at risk anyway. They come in association with a group of people who make them feel they belong, something that they feel that
like
they're valued.
Like a new family.
It's like a family, it replaces the family, they feel they're valued. And as well as that, you know, they're going to people who in their eyes are attractive. They're attracted by all the status, the power, the respect that these people have on the street, and also the fear that they command. And when you're involved in that, you've got to understand that being involved in these types of groups, it comes as a package. Yes, there are risks and dangers associated, but it also is attractive to them. You know, there's a lot of trappings, and to them, you've got to understand that at that moment in time, those seem to be the most important thing. There's a lot of immediate gratification in what they're doing, and they feel as though that is all that's important at the time. And especially if you haven't got the right support circles, then that is the appeal to them.
Do you think some of these young girls have the child, have got no money, no prospects, nothing going on? Do you think that might draw them towards the gangs?
You can't underestimate how attractive that is. I mean, if there's a lot of money around, which can be achieved very quickly and very easily, and as a result of that,
was a bank robber.
There you go. So there you go. So you know. So with that,
all I can't understand is I did get perks when I went out with a bank robber when I was 15. That man would never in a million years have ever asked me to take a gun anywhere. Or do anything that would have got me in any kind of trouble. Gifford spelt out some obvious advantages for girls being in a gang. You get money and you get to look big in front of your mates, which must be tempting when you have nothing. But what I want to know is what these girls actually have to do in return for these so-called perks. Gifford put me in touch with Damola, who introduced me to Alika and Penny. Damola and Alika were in a gang for several years, and Penny was on the edge of gang life. All of them have now walked away. So Penny, what would you say girls get from being in a gang?
Depends really on the person. Sometimes they get money from it, sometimes you go out with the person, or sometimes it's just the fact that you get a name out of it. Like girls in general, they would usually hold the guns, hold the drugs, hold the knives, like with them until the guy usually comes back or something. Whatever the gang needed from them or wanted them to hold, that's when they would come in and hold the thing, the objects or whatever it was.
So where would you put the knife? Where would they hold the knife?
Oh, it depends really. Some girls, they wear like padded bras and they would slit the bra in half and put the knife in there, but it has the metal bit around it anyway. So if you do get stopped and searched, then if they go through it, then they'll just be, it's the metal bit on my bra and no one really knows.
Exactly. But whenever there's a girl around, they'll use her as their sort of like flirtatious ways of getting whatever like thoughts or whatever teasers or needs they have. Then
so they'd have sex with them, basically.
Exactly.
You have sex with them.
Or feel-ups or whatever it is, or kissing, or just basically against her will, trying to touch her up.
What you're saying is the girls join the gangs to get respect, but the minute they join the gang, the respect disappears because the people they're dealing with don't respect.
Yeah, but they stay because of the respect. But that's the thing, though.
They'll be like, baby, please, just do that for me.
But that's
like, hold the nice if you love me, if you really care about me. So obviously, she feels to herself, obviously, because he's holding her and he's showing her affection and attention, that's where she'll feel to say, oh, he does care about me. Okay, let me just do this favour for him so he doesn't think that I'm bad man, that he doesn't feel that I'm taking a piss out of him. So yeah, I will hold it for him to make him feel happy.
Penny, Demola and Alika all said that girls are used in gangs as decoys when a gang went out on the rob. I wanted to find out how to avoid becoming a victim. So it's Friday night or Saturday night, whatever night of the week, you're out on the rob, you've come here, so how would you rob me?
It's pitch black here, Penny, you're there. Alika, you're there. You'll come up here.
I can't see anyone, can I?
You can't see nothing.
Broken, yeah?
The light's broken. Penny will come up to you and ask you a question.
I remember it's pitch black.
It's pitch black, so you can't see nothing.
Excuse me, can I have a cigarette?
So I'll give you a cigarette, obviously, because I'm frightened already.
And what phone you got?
So someone will hold you while the rest of us search
And then
you.
you'd search me.
Exactly.
So if you try to struggle about, I'll hold you, then Penny will either slap you or punch you for you to stop. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
Like
Penny will either slap you, then you'll be there, then obviously if you're still not listening to us, then I'll put you on the floor. So I either hold you like this,
and down,
like that.
Psychological, yeah.
So I'll be on the floor, then we'll be searching you, then I'll leave you. If you cooperated and just gave us
Would you
everything.
kick me or something if I was still mouthing you?
If you're still mouthing, if you're still chatting shit, then all of us will just literally stomp on your face. Just stomp on you so you don't recognise nothing. All you have to do is give us the phone, take no trouble, and go home.
But I've worked hard for that. That's mine. So people's automatic response is, you're not having that, it's mine.
Yeah.
So, it's yours and what?
So now, this time after all this, how do you feel? Do you ever feel any guilt and think to myself, my God, I took that off someone who worked hard. This might have been a woman who had the key money for electric. Or a children's Christmas present.
If you asked us this 2 years ago, literally, we would just say, so what? You win some, you lose some, do you understand? I'm a lion.
After that robbery, you all commit, the three of you, I'm not saying you personally, but three people do that robbery together. Yeah. One of them's a girl. We've used her to approach me because I'm a woman. I won't be so nervous when she comes, and approaches me. What would she get out of what you got out of that robbery?
They are not going to get anything. They will not get anything out of it.
Girls won't get
because
a thing.
obviously they know that the gang that they're with are some sort of intimidating or some skip the people that are basically more infamous, and obviously not for the right reasons. So they will not even try and pretend to be willing to share. They'll just make it very clear.
You're worth nothing, basically.
Worth nothing. You probably get a 5 or 10 or. The highest you probably get was a 10 or. You probably get 10 to go and get your nose done. Simple.
These three have rejected the attraction of gangs. But for some women, the scars of this violent lifestyle will be something they never forget. It bothers me that when girls join male gangs, they often become a kind of sexual currency passed around among the boys. I'm going to meet a young woman who says she survived this experience. This young woman escaped from a gang 2 years ago. She's out now and she's agreed to talk to me. But obviously she doesn't want to be recognised. And who can blame her? Being sort of the girl in the gang, the only female gang member, what was expected of you? What did you do? What was your role?
I was kind of like a protector for this specific guy that...
This is at 13?
Yeah. Things he couldn't do, I did for him. Things like I would carry the drugs, just carry them in my coat pocket or something, and just go and meet his dealer to get money. Kind of like I was a deliverer.
What was the first initial contact that you ever had with a gang?
I got raped.
When?
At 13. I got raped. I never ever reported it either. So I couldn't even find out what I was drugged with or whatever. I saw it as an initiation to his gang because that's what they all did to get a girl in their gang in a way. You have to have steps with her. That's how you get your respect.
How did you feel afterwards, sort of when you realised that, at such a young age, at 13, something that's so important?
I would say I got brainwashed. I was always the only girl with some bunch of boys. Do you know what I mean? And I used to have to watch horrible things. Had to watch the gang members rape girls on the bus.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did that affect you? How did that make you feel?
Just made my heart hardened. Like, the first time I was shocked, I was like, oh my God, that is horrible. And I had to watch it, and I was screaming, don't do it, leave them alone.
How old are these girls?
They looked 15, 16. The first time it happened, it was kind of like, oh my word. And the second time, it was just like, oh, whatever. And it just became nothing to me. And then became like I was emotionless, basically. I didn't have no emotions for no one. I didn't care about no one.
This story has shocked me, but it's also made me angry. This was a young, vulnerable girl who says she was raped and abused by a gang, and it has left her emotionally scarred. I thought this was bad enough, but what I heard next made me realise I'd just scratched the surface of what life could be like for girls in gangs. The next girl that we're going to meet doesn't want to be identified by her real name. She's so terrified of the gang that she escaped from and of her family finding out that she insisted we hide her face and disguise her voice. Can you tell us why you're in disguise, why we can't see you?
To keep my family unaware of what activities I got up to. Because if they did find out, there's family members that would want me and my siblings dead. Want my mum dead.
So what had happened to you that made you want to join a gang?
I thought that maybe being in a gang would make me feel stronger. I met someone that was involved in gang lifestyle. They introduced me to more people. I would have to do favours for them. Favours. Terrible favours, you might as well say. Hold guns, hold knives, probably guns that had been used to murder people, knives that had been used to stab people, hold drugs, beat people up. Some girls get lucky to burst at someone, to actually hold a strap, that's what we call it, and shoot someone. Sometimes it could be okay on the streets. We've got boys that shot, which is selling drugs, and say someone that shot has given another boy less food than he's supposed to get. That becomes a problem.
Food's to drugs, isn't it?
Yeah. So you then become someone that's on the list, a hit list. And if we want to, we'll find you where you live, put you in the back of a car, take you somewhere, beat you up, torture you, and leave you there for a few days.
From what I've seen and heard, I think that there's nothing for the women in the gangs. I think that they're just used. I think that I can't see personally what they're actually getting out of it.
They are just used. They're used for a period of time. And after that period of time, then you'll feel worthless. Then you'll feel like, what was I doing? Respect doesn't matter. Respect provides something for you temporarily. When that respect is gone...
Well, false respect you're talking about.
False respect. When that respect is gone, no one cares whether you live or die. You could be that person's best friend. When that respect's gone or your title's gone, they'll watch you crawl and beg. They'll watch you destroy yourself.
What would you say was your worst memory when you was a girl gang?
I think it's the way I left the crew. Because when you're in, sometimes there's no way to get out. And it could be so much worse than you walking away. It could be you walking away with one finger missing. It could be you walking away with a bullet hole in your leg, or being stabbed in the face, or cut from your ear to your other ear. Yeah, that's what made me change.
I understand that girls can get drawn into gangs because of a tough childhood. But joining a gang can only make a bad situation worse. Once you're into a gang this deep, it seems very difficult to get out unharmed. I wanted to know what could be done to make girls on the edge of gang life realise the danger they were in. This is a workshop that's run by ex-gang members for young women who are already in trouble on the street. Let's see if it works. Aisha and Bo from Foundation for Life help run the group. They've agreed to let me sit in when the girls arrive. Bo knows from personal experience where girls in gangs can end up. Why did you go to prison the first time, Bo?
My first time in jail was basically because I was a young girl. I started doing drugs. I met a man who was a drug dealer and I ended up smoking his drugs. So in turn for that, it was payback time. I was forced, well, it's not even forced, but basically you might as well say I had to go and replace back these drugs. So I was a mule, I became a mule. I went to Jamaica, I swallowed nearly 1.5 kilos of cocaine.
And that's in the little bags.
It was done in the tubes, about the size of my thumb, and I started from the morning, I swallowed them like a meal and thought I'd get away, thought everything would be all right. I was a traveller and thought that would be the one. It wasn't. I went to prison, I got 12 months for that on my first sentence, yeah. I've been there. I've been through it, I've come out at the end of it, I've seen what it's like in there, I've seen the good, the bad and the ugly. I went to prison a couple of times. So my experience is coming from the actual real thing, it's not a textbook. I've been there, I've done it, and this is what I'm coming to share with the girls.
Do you think that gives you a better grounding to talk to these girls? Do you think they listen more to you than to someone else?
Definitely, especially, well, with me, I'm young, I'm only 20 and I'm not that older than themselves, and I'm coming from where they're at now, and they understand me more because I had previous life experience. They understand me more and they respect me more as well. And it's also, as Bo said, it's not a wrong or right answer. It's what you want to do, but we're giving them, listen, if you want to go down that road, that's going to happen to you, because it's happened to us. This is what I'm trying to say.
The girls on this workshop have been referred from police and schools. Some have already been involved in criminal activity and are all seriously at risk of moving further into violent gang behaviour. Aisha, Bo, Amina and Joanne run regular sessions here trying to confront the girls with the consequences of their actions. We've agreed not to identify the young women taking part.
She's only been to school. How comes in here when we're in this group, you lot are all ledge. You're all cool, you're all quiet, there's no attitudes, there's no nothing going on. But when it comes to school time, you lot push the boundaries.
You treat us with respect, but the teachers don't treat you with respect.
Do you treat the teachers with respect?
Honestly,
do you treat the teachers?
Or is it that you're coming into school, you don't want to be in school anyway, so you're pissed off anyway? Oh, shit. I'm in school, I'm sitting down, the teacher's telling you open your books. I don't want to, innit? If you're out, you gotta be in the middle.
The girls seemed to enjoy the session, but it was time for me to get involved. I wanted to show them footage of violent gang behaviour with girls at the heart of it. I wanted to hear what they would do in similar situations. First of all, I'd like to say a real big thanks to everyone for letting me join in this evening and let me watch you all at work, if you like, and all you girls. It's been fabulous. It's been really enlightening and really interesting. But I've got 2 pieces of CCTV that I'd like you to look at, and I'd like your reactions to them, if that's okay. So we're going to put them on there, all right?
Can I just ask a question? Have you ever been in trouble with the police?
Well, I've been told off a few times when I was younger. But put it this way, I wasn't exactly what you would have called the perfect child, no. Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this documentary, to, gauge your reactions. This CCTV footage from March 2008 shows a serious assault carried out by a gang in Rochdale town centre. While the victim lies unconscious, a girl member of the gang checks his body for things she can steal. Five of the attackers, including the girl, were convicted and sentenced to a total of 15 years. I saw you looked really, really shocked. I was watching all your faces. You looked really shocked when you saw him kick him.
That was the worst bit. No, it's raw when they just keep going back and when they run off with that one guy. Look, that bit there. That was horrible.
Could you ever perceive any of yourselves being involved in anything like that?
No.
Not saying something violent like that. No, that's disgusting.
Have you ever rushed anyone? Any rushed anyone?
Like, I've had fight with people, but not to that extent.
One-on-one.
Not one-on-one.
No one's ever jumped into the fight. Have you rushed?
I've been in fights like when like one of their people tried jumped in and then like one of my people like obviously stopped. But not on one person.
Do you think that the girl was as bad as the boys, even though she didn't take part in the actual violence, or do you think she was worse or not as bad?
I think she's actually worse because he's not now just going to have a couple of bruises, he's now lost his stuff. It's his, not her. Like,
I think he'll have more than a couple of bruises after what they done to him, don't you? Do you feel pressure to become a part of that?
It's just, I don't know. If I was there in that position, I'm not going to say now, oh no, I wouldn't do that because you don't know. I don't know.
It'd take a lot of
I would say now, but I wouldn't want to do it. But I don't know. If my mind's telling me to do it when I'm there, everyone's around me, then.
And it's different.
I don't know. If I was there, then I don't know what I'd do.
Do you think you could have got really caught up in that then? If you'd have been really drunk, you could have got caught up enough with everyone to maybe become part of that pack?
I don't know. If you've done something like hurt my family or something.
Disrespected you?
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say I would when I wouldn't say I wouldn't. That's how bad it was, but...
The girls seemed to agree that while the violence was shocking, they wouldn't rule out getting involved themselves. I showed them a second clip from 2004, one of London's most notorious cases of so-called happy slapping. CCTV cameras capture 14-year-old Chelsea O'Mahony filming an attack on a rough sleeper on her mobile. This man managed to get away, but minutes earlier the gang had attacked and killed barman David Morley. 3 of the attackers got 12 years each for manslaughter. Chelsea was sentenced to 8 years. Do you think you'd be quite happy to stand there and video someone being harmed like that?
Just think about it. You're not really... Forget Martina, forget what
the
she's showing
cameras,
you.
forget
We've gone out here now. Boy, there's
You're with
two
all your
people having
mates,
a
you've had a
laugh.
drink.
Or 2
And
people
you're
getting
gonna
happy
film it
slapped.
just to catch
You're going to
them.
pop off your phone quickly just to say, look what's going on.
Who ain't done that? Who ain't
Yeah.
popped their phone when their friends fighting?
Fight, yeah, but not... If it's like they got a reason to be
But
fighting...
that person's getting... Someone's a victim in that fight. So that's what you have to look at. And that person was a
But
victim.
would you film the fight?
I wouldn't... No, but
I've seen
people...
people...
Yeah.
Well, Daniel Hughes filmed the fight. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, was that him sitting on the floor?
See, she's filming it. She's walking around filming it. Watch. And now they're stamping on him.
If you was on the streets and you got deeper and deeper into it,
You get
this
deeper
will come
and
into
deeper
your life.
desensitised.
It will come into your life because you're into the crime, and crime comes with knife crime, the whole thing.
Becomes part of your
And it's not
persona.
pretty. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So she's saying, if you wasn't here right now and trying to change your life, do you think you could have done something like that or been involved in something like that?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been honest because you lot ain't really been honest that much because the TVs and that.
Do you think that the girl holding the camera was as guilty as the people who were jumping on that guy's head?
I know she's in the wrong as well because she filmed it, but like, if you're with a group of boys, and obviously, probably one of them's her boyfriend or something, and he's like, oh, let's just do this, and then she ain't gonna be like, well, no, I'm going home. Obviously, you're gonna.
Are you saying then that if you're with a gang, you're with a boy that's in a gang, that you automatically go along with what they do? You feel on a bound to go along
If
with
you're
it?
like outnumbered, you like a girl that just like rolls around with them, and just. And they be like, oh yeah, we're gonna like.
Yeah.
Do you think they would?
Yeah, because if they go, oh no, yeah, but you're just gonna go home and like grass up. So if you go home now, then we're just gonna jump you as well. And so she's probably scared, so she done what they said. And they asked her to film it, and she did.
Even going back to the first clip we saw, if you look, it's the girl was all as involved as everybody else, and you'll find that a lot of girls will hang around with a boy gang, you know, because it's tough and everything else. You know, they like being the bitch of the crew. you know, with all the bad men and everything else. And so, yeah, to me, you know, they were as much involved as everybody else, you know, in both of the films.
They all seemed to be saying that there was real pressure to go along with what the gang was doing. The girls didn't want to end up in trouble, but it was almost as if sometimes they felt like they had no choice. It seems to me that, I mean, this was fantastic tonight. I think you're doing a really fantastic job, but do you think this is just the tip of the iceberg now? Do you feel that we need an awful lot more of this kind of workshop, different groups? Do you think we need to be finding the children younger?
Of course.
That starts from, sorry to cut you out, it starts from a little high.
8.
7s, 8s. From they get a knowledge and understanding, that is when we need to be breaking it down.
When they know from right from wrong, I think it's about time, because it's getting, the gang situation at the moment, the gun crime, the knife crime is getting so out of control, and it's getting younger and younger and younger.
More females.
And it's more females, yeah,
and it's just about acceptance. It's about them having somewhere to go, someone to relate to them, someone to take them in and accept them for who they are or whatever they can do or bring to the table.
This small scheme is a start, but from what I've seen, it simply won't be enough to stop girls getting drawn deeper into gang violence. The Home Office claims it's had some success in reducing gun-related injuries and targeting the most dangerous gang members. But it didn't specifically target girls, as they were said to make up only 2% of the 774 gang members identified. I've been exploring the involvement of girls in gangs, and I've seen how easy it is for regular teenage girls to get caught up in street crime. I've seen exactly what this means. Girls hanging out and fighting on the streets. I've heard accounts of girls becoming the victims of psychological and sexual abuse. What was the first initial contact that you ever had with a gang?
I got raped.
When?
At 13.
All this wrapped up in stories of extreme but almost casual violence. Would you kick me or something if I was still mouthing you?
If you're still mouthing, if you're still chatting shit, then all of us would just literally stomp on your face. Just stomp on you so you don't recognise nothing.
As a mother myself, I think that something has been missing from the story so far. What about the parents? Gifford Sutherland works with Foundation for Life to get young people out of gangs. I asked him, where are these kids' mums and dads? And why aren't they looking out for their children?
Parents do have to take responsibility. There's been a major breakdown in the family, in the family infrastructure, you see, and the dysfunctional families and single parents and also younger parents as well. The phrase is always single young mums.
Yeah.
There is no mention of this of the fathers of these same young people.
Well,
and that breakdown of that. And you see, but that is a real factor nowadays, because there is a distinct lack of male role models in today's society.
Arrested was there.
I went back to see Aisha. She was in a gang, but now works to keep other girls from following her example. I wanted to know if she thought her mum and dad could have stopped her joining a gang.
I don't blame anyone apart from myself for what I was doing. Like, obviously me and my mum's situation where she could have gave me a little bit of support, but she didn't understand what I was going through. She didn't know my lifestyle that I was living. So it was like 2 different lifestyles. So when you got your single parent, your mum, and she's cooking, cleaning, you got other siblings.
I come from a very similar background to this, but I've always told my children, you can be what you want to be.
Yeah, but
that's the point I'm trying to make to you now is, do you think that, you know, somewhere along the line we may need parenting classes in the school, something to let people tell their children what should be normal to them?
I do understand, like, some parents, like, have tried their best, and as they say, all you can do is your best. So I would never blame like my mum for what I'd done and everything, but like obviously I love my mum and that. Yeah. I love her to pieces. She's brought me up well. But obviously she was at the end of her tether. Obviously certain people can deal with things differently.
I think that unless the parents start taking more responsibility, then their daughters will look elsewhere for role models to follow and respect. I've heard that the experience of girls in gangs can be a violent and traumatic one, but it's important not to forget that while some girls may be victimised by their gang, Others commit terrible acts as gang members and create victims. Lucy Cope's son Damien was killed in a gang-related shooting 7 years ago. Since then, Lucy has set up a pressure group called Mothers Against Guns to highlight the problems of gun crime and gangs. Her work has brought about some major changes in the law. Lucy understands how the street gangs operate, and she believes that girls are getting more involved than ever before. Would you say, Lucy, that there's a problem with female gangs?
Gosh, yeah, there's a massive problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, back in the day it was boys, but now girl gangs are ruthless, fearless, and not just London-based. It's London, Nottingham, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds. It's not just a London thing. So, and the gangs are getting younger, and the victims are getting younger.
And the girls are younger, I should
Yeah, girls are in gangs from the age of 12. I mean, my young daughter said was just in my house yesterday, if it hadn't been for who I am, being a Mothers Against Guns, she would be in a gang. She's very ghetto speaking, and the way the slang she uses, you'd mistake her for a gang member, but she's not actually active. In order to make a future for our future generation children, we have to highlight it and nip it in the bud while we can.
Do you think the girls in the gangs are as violent as the boys?
Of course, yeah. They have no respect for anybody, no. They don't care who you are, where you are, who you're coming from. If you step on the toes, then they're coming for you. Check what your daughter's doing. Check her bedroom when she goes out. Check under her bed, checking her wardrobe, checking her drawers. I know it's something we never used to do. We give our kids privacy. They've lost that privacy now. It's better you find out what your child's doing now, or you do what I had to do and put your child 6 foot under the ground, because it's not nice, and you never get over it.
Listening to Lucy confirmed my worst fears. In the making of this programme, I've heard how girls are becoming criminalised in gangs. I've also heard how they're being sexually abused, raped, intimidated, and coerced into holding guns, drugs, and weapons. There are still fewer girls than boys involved in gang activity. But as I've discovered, the experiences of girls in gangs are extreme, dangerous, and shocking. In their 2009 report, the Youth Justice Board recommended that girls had to be dealt with separately from boys when it came to the causes and consequences of their criminal activity. If we don't take this seriously and try to get to the bottom of why girls want to join gangs, then young women will increasingly be drawn into the gang lifestyle. And once they are in, they might never be able to get out.